Western Regional Off-Track Betting's choice to make Byron Brown their next president and CEO marks one of the biggest political shakeups in Western New York in many years. The future of the city of Buffalo's mayor's office now hangs in the balance depending on what Brown decides to do next.
He says he is currently still in negotiations and will focus on being mayor. In the meantime, we are taking a look back at the history of the mayor's office. Right now, we are joined by the city's historian, Lindsay Lauren Visser. Lindsay Lauren, thank you so much for coming in this afternoon.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be here.
So I'd imagine since this news kind of came out, you've been looking at a number of things. What were some of your biggest takeaways?
Well, I think when we look back at our history, the mayors are obviously one of the most important positions locally. And for much of the 20th century, you've had a more traditional election, full term serve, and then maybe the incumbent wins again, maybe a challenger, maybe they just opt not to run again. But there are instances, and some notable ones, in which we've had mayors who have decided to step away sooner than their term for any number of reasons. And so the two that stood out the most to me, one of which is from my favorite time period in history to talk about, Grover Cleveland,
of course,
and Frank Sedita is the other one, both of whom chose not to fulfill the full term that they had available to them for very different reasons. But it did cause a little bit of a kerfuffle, of course, in the aftermath.
Kerfuffle.
Love the use of the word kerfuffle.
I do what I can.
First of all, what were their reasons? You said they were different. So
They're very
Sedita,
different.
and then we have Cleveland.
So Frank Sedita actually chose to step away for health reasons. And so he had served a number of terms, broken up non-consecutive terms. And in his case, his deputy mayor actually took over. And so that was before the exact rules that we have now, that it goes to the president and the common council.
And that is in the city charter. That is codified law. So it's not even a if and when this does happen, there is not going to be a vote, nothing that needs to happen. The only thing that needs to happen is a resignation from the mayor, right?
Correct. And I did actually confirm that as of the 2002, or I should say 2001 update to it. It was following the election of 2001, this was what would happen in the event of a vacancy. So Grover Cleveland's reasons were radically different.
Right.
He actually was on the start of his meteoric rise to the presidency. So he was elected mayor, took over in 1882, didn't even serve a full year, but in that time managed to build up enough of a reputation for himself that he was tapped to be the gubernatorial candidate for New York State, successfully won that campaign, went to be governor of New York, didn't stick around very long because then he went on to be president of the United States. So, I mean, it's I guess a short walk from the mayor's office to the Oval Office.
Apparently.
Now, looking at mayors past, would you say most of them served out the full term?
They did. And I think the other thing that's worth noting, too, is the length of term has changed over time. So from the time that the city was incorporated in 1832 until 1853, the term was actually a year, which seems almost impossible to fulfill. Yeah.
Would they actually hold an election every year?
Oh, yeah.
A mayor's election
and
in the
then
city of
it
Buffalo?
shifted to 2-year terms. And that was radical.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we now have our more modern 4-year terms, which I think gives each individual mayor more of an opportunity to leave their impact and really implement policy changes that they want. A year is just not enough.
And see them through.
Exactly.
It really seems interesting, and I don't mean to get sort of philosophical here, but it is sort of the reason we study history to see perhaps what's going to happen in the future. Does anything that you've seen, and then the big shakeup that is happening right now that is sort of brewing as we speak, does that portend anything to you as a historian? Like, hey, this happened back then, and maybe this is something we as a public should be watching out for, or politics, or what have you?
Well, I think any time that you have a change in administrations, there's always going to be kind of a different energy that a new incumbent brings in. And so in this case, I think, obviously, with an enormous debt of gratitude to Mayor Brown for his service, I think the thing that we can really look forward to is seeing how the next mayor comes in and leaves their unique mark on the role. And whether that's for, the length of the mayor's term and then after a special election or any of these kinds of things, I think we're going to see a difference in the mayor's office in perhaps a way we haven't seen in the last 5 terms. But again, that's part of the change that comes with these elections.
Yeah.
The only constant is change.
True.
Certainly. Well, a lot of interesting stuff here. Lindsay Lauren Visser, city historian. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your insight.
Absolutely.